welcome. Welcome to another video about the lunar eclipse with me, Veerle. And I'm going to talk, I hope, a quick video with the lunar eclipse, having that in the different houses. What does it mean? But first of all, what is this lunar eclipse about? It's a lunar eclipse at the 25th of May. And it's going to be the moon in Sagittarius, and it's a full moon, so the moon is in Sagittarius, it's opposing the sun in Gemini. So first of all, I'm going to explain what this eclipse is about, I think, and then I'm going to explain when it falls in your first house, second house, and so on. So first of all, I think this eclipse is a lot about adventure, because it's in Sagittarius. So I'm speaking in general now. With the moon in Sagittarius, it's like asking us to explore knowledge, and because Sagittarius is really a sign that doesn't care about how would I say, the appearances, keeping up the appearances. It just says the truth as it is. And I think in all of for all of us, it's going to be a revelation, or a little one or a big one, about some truth. And for some people it will be relationships, others it will be work, and so on, because that is really what Sagittarius wants to do. Sagittarius really wants the experience and really wants to know things through experiences. And so that will be the energy and the flavor, and especially in the full moon with the sun in Gemini, that is really interested in information and in knowledge as well, and in talking and communication. I think that a lot will be revealed in people's lives. But there are a few other things going on, of course. It's not just that opposition that is going on, and it's a lunar eclipse because the nodes are involved, and with full moons it's already about accomplishments, or about, some people say it's about endings, but I rather say it's about something that comes to fruition, depending on the areas of life. I'll talk about that, as I said, in a minute. But there are other things going on that are really, really interesting. First of all, there is this square to Neptune. But, so yes, that square to Neptune is not a bad planet in itself, but when it squares up to other planets, it's a bit tricky, it's a bit nasty, and especially to the moon, because Neptune squaring up to the moon, even when you are experienced, even when you are, you have that Sagittarian experience knowledge, or even if you are someone who's very intuitive, you can't really rely on it with Neptune there, squaring up to it. Neptune, when it's a square or an opposition, it tends to confuse, and it tends to, you know, especially with the Sagittarius energy, it tends to show you a truth, and then another one, and then another one, and that one truth. And some people can deal with that very well. You know, they have the belief and they have the trust, and they have no problem with it. But people who are a bit of the controlling type, they do have problems with that, because I know someone who goes skiing every year, and so he's really experienced in it. He's really good at skiing. He always goes around March, April, and this year was the first year, he said, that he had a couple of days of mist when he was skiing. So I say this just to explain Neptune a little bit more. And he said it was dangerous. It was literally dangerous with having this mist, and even being very experienced with the skiing. He said, I didn't know, just 1 meter, I couldn't see, 1 meter in front of me, so I could have done bad choices. If I go this way, I maybe bump into I don't know what, and so on. So it's really, the best thing you can do is actually not acting, or acting in very small little steps and trusting that all will be fine. And that is the energy with that Neptune. I think with Neptune squaring up to a Sagittarius moon, it's really asking us of looking at different truths, you know, and there's certainly people who have some Sagittarius in their chart. They will have a bit of difficulty with that because they want to know one truth. And but this is how the planets are configured at the moment. So it really demands a kind of letting go and not taking major steps. So that is really in general. I think this is a period, a couple of weeks before that, a couple of weeks after that. It's not a period to take big decisions. But of course, some of us will have to. And why do I say that as well? Because Mars is on a very, well, let's say malefic fixed star at that time. It's on Caput Algol, which is a fixed star that is about losing your head. So including that in the mixture, I would really suggest just, you know, just stay still and see what happens. On the other hand, I don't think this Neptune square is going to be bad at all, because it's supported by Saturn. Saturn is trining Neptune at the moment, which is lovely for all of those people who have squares and oppositions with Neptune. So actually they're having this, what I talked about, you know, that person in the mist and the skiing, you know, it's you know, you can't ski, you really have to do something different. So for those people, especially for the mutable signs, which is Pisces, Virgos, Sagittarius and Geminis. I made a video of that, of the transits of Neptune. Now the good thing is, if you have between 0 and 10 degrees of those planets in those 4 signs, you are supported by Saturn as well. So Saturn is just a bit the opposite of Neptune. So notwithstanding the fact there is no direction, Saturn makes sure that you have the feet on the ground. So I don't think this is a very, you know, a bad eclipse anyway. So, but yes, that's, I think, the flavor. Another thing, it's certainly about endings and new beginnings, because there are the 2 fixed stars involved, namely, and I always forget the name, Antares, which is the beginning of Sagittarius, and Aldebaran is at the beginning of Gemini. So the opposition of the moon and the sun are on those 2 fixed stars, which is all about endings and new beginnings. I know that new moons are very much about, or I think new moons are very much about new beginnings as well. But I think with this full moon, it's more of a completion. So let's look at these lunar eclipses through the signs. Let's start with Sagittarius, of course. So the moon will be in your sign, and I think it's around 4 degrees. So if you have an ascendant or a moon or a sun around 0 to 10 degrees of Sagittarius, it will be bang on that planet or on the ascendant. And with the moon in the 1st house, it's a bit Aries-like. So it's about you, it's about here I am, and in Sagittarius, it really is here I am. It really is, I don't care what other people think, or, you know, what you see is what you get. And actually, I don't think that's a bad thing. What you see is what you get. So expect around that time that you have probably, especially with the moon in the 1st house, with the moon in your sign, probably will have your heart on your sleeve. And other people might say, just might say, or there's a chance of being a bit more emotional than usual. But I think there's something revealing itself, a part of you that other people didn't know that it was there. So very exciting for the Sagittarians. The opposite sign, which is Gemini. When you are a Gemini, you have the sun in your 1st house and that moon is in the 7th house. So that opposition that lunar eclipse is in your 7th house of relationships. So maybe your loved one, or if you work with other people one-to-one, people can be very emotional, or are starting to show something that you really didn't know that was there. But it also shows for you the need to have others in your life. So there can be completions in relationships as well, for the good or for the better, or for the good or for the better, or for the worse. The other two mutable signs, which is Pisces and Virgo. Pisces, for Pisceans, let's have a look. This happens in your 10th house. So for Pisceans, I think, so you have that lunar eclipse in your 10th house of work. For most people, it'll be work. So I think you will, or something will happen considering your work, or maybe if you would give a presentation or something, that would be really good actually. It's good to perform around that time. But considering the other things that I just said, with Neptune there in your sign, so things won't always be clear, but you get the support of Saturn, so don't worry. But I think that something will reveal itself, and considering your work, and other people could be very surprised, I think. For Virgos, this happens in the 4th house, which is your roots, which is your, could be your home. But I think for the majority of Virgos, especially those with a Virgo rising, ascendant, it will have to do with your core, and you know, and also with your work, of course, because the sun is in the 10th house. So I think you are going to shine around that time when it considers work, but at the same time you can be very emotional at home, and but you will get the support of that significant other in your life. And if there isn't one, you know, the other people that you meet could be very interesting for you to discover some things about yourself. Let's go to the other signs. Let's look at Libra and Aries. Well, when you are in Aries, this is so interesting and so nice. A nice eclipse, because this is happening in your 9th house. And it's so it's the knowledge house. Sagittarius moon will be in your 9th house. So I think for a lot of Aries people, there will be, notwithstanding there's this Neptune thing going on, there will be insights, maybe from a book. Maybe you read a book and suddenly you see things on in a bigger perspective, and that helps you to take your further steps. And really having an eclipse in your 9th house, I think, is really nice. And it's also about your knowledge. So maybe you get in touch with foreign people, and they give you this totally different view upon things, and you say, hey, yes, that makes sense. And you start to do your life in a very different way. A bit the same for Libra, but for Libra this happens in the 3rd house, the moon, and the moon likes it in the 3rd house. And am I right? I'm just checking. Yes, I'm right. It's in the 3rd house. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I have to look very close to the screen. So for those who have a Libra, especially Libra rising, this is happening in your 3rd house, and this is about your communication, and this is about your information that you pick up that has a lot of meaning probably. So maybe you are taking a new course, or maybe you are ending a course and it comes to its peak, and hopefully you will have good results. And it gives you a kind of knowledge that really suits you very well. What about Capricorn and Cancer? These are also the opposite signs, Capricorn and Cancer. Also very interesting. For the Capricorns, this is happening in your 12th house. A lunar eclipse in your 12th house. It is maybe for Capricorns, I think they're very down to earth, but they also like the deep stuff and the things. They want to reveal what is not revealed yet. So I think they really like that. And that is your 12th house, in the house of the unconsciousness. So there is a blind spot that comes spotted, and I think you really, I think Capricorns really need that to every now and then to find some truth about themselves, which is so relevant for their further, for the upcoming months, to take into consideration what they have seen that was very, very hidden for themselves probably. So take advantage of that, Capricorns. For Cancerians, that happens in their 6th house, that eclipse, which is also very nice because it can show you something or reveal something that has to do with your health, or that has to do, and so you have to, maybe you have to change your direction when it comes to health. You have to initiate something different, or when it comes to nutrition. And it's very, very important for Cancerians anyway. But it could also be work, so something that happens around your day-to-day routines, and a lot of stuff that you have been doing at home, maybe just different things, different tasks, and maybe you have changed them, and now you see the relevance of that because of that change in your 6th house. That comes to a fruition, and you see that you have changed your routines, and because of that you become way more efficient, which is all about 6th house, Virgo house. What else? The fixed signs. Yes, the fixed signs. Let's talk about Leo and Aquarians. When you are Leo, this happens in your 5th house, this lunar eclipse, which I think is very nice, also for the Aquarians, because that happens in their 11th house. If you are Leo and this eclipse happens in your 5th house of creativity, that's very much in general. So something can come to fruition when it comes to creativity, which is very important for Leo. But it can also be a romance. So maybe something reveals itself about that particular person, and you say, so for better or for worse. So maybe you could say, it's not that, you know, with that Neptune there, maybe you have been putting someone too much on a pedestal, is that a word, pedestal? Or, but I don't think it's too bad, you know, you're gonna just, yes, I think it's quite light for you, for the Leos. And for the Aquarians, it's happening in their 11th house, which is of aspirations and friends. So maybe there is a friend that gets into the picture, and maybe you're going to even end a relationship with a friend because you think, you know, I've seen that strange, you know, the curtains are really open now, and I'm starting to see how this friend is really not a friend for me, and you know, I don't need friends like that. It could be that. It could be also that something comes to a head when it comes to your long-term aspirations and your long-term, you know, I think that is already very Aquarian-like. Aquarius people really are very much people who can see avant la lettre, who know things before other people know it, and who see things. So something can happen there as well. Insights, which is great. And then we've got Scorpio and Taurus. Now for Scorpio, now I have to take a look very, very close. Oh yes, the money houses. For Scorpio, this happens in your 2nd house, this lunar eclipse, which is for Scorpio nice, because Scorpio is actually associated with the 8th house, which is another, you could say money house, but also a house of value. So there's something going on that, or for some people, hopefully a good clarification, or something that was hidden that comes all of a sudden to the light, that has to do with your financial situation, and maybe you don't like it, but then you know it. And I think Scorpios really do need that. They also need to know the truth, even when it's not really nice. And then you can start up building maybe your finances in a better way, in a different way, and start up doing things for that particular area. Or on another level, it has to do with something that your confidence that comes to completion, or to a fruition, or you feel more self-valued, you feel more confidence than you already are. That's nice for Scorpio. And then last but not least, the Taurian. And for the Taurians, for Taurus people, this will happen, this eclipse in your 8th house, which is also nice for Taurians because it has to do with stuff that maybe some fears that they have, that they're trying to master in a slow but surely way. And it can also have to do with maybe, hopefully, you get some tax return, which is very surprising these days, I think. But anyway, or maybe money from other people, an ex-wife, husband, or a heritage, or whatever. But I think for most Taurians, it will have to do with their the confidence that they get from other people, that something comes to the light and that they didn't know it was there. So I think that that'll be good as well. So that's it. The lunar eclipse for the 25th of May at 4 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's about the truth, it's about the knowledge, and it's about, you know, taking the adventure and be open and friendly. I think friendly, most Sagittarians, are very friendly people. So be a bit friendly around those days to other people and yourself. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful for you. And if you want a specific reading for your unique chart, just get in touch. And I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.